Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Zacapa Resources live corporate webinar. This is Will Mays from RB Milestone. Zacapa is a newly listed company on the TSX Venture Exchange, and it trades under the symbol ZACA. Joining us today is the company's CEO and director, Adam Melnik, who will be going through Zacapa's investor presentation. This will include an overview of current operations, recent achievements, and upcoming milestones. At the end of the presentation, we'll open it up for question and answers for Adam to address. If you have any interest in asking a question and are logged into the Zoom app or web platform, you can submit your questions to us directly in the chat module. Please note that this presentation is being recorded today, Tuesday, February 1st, 2022, and will be made available on the company's website at zacaparesources.com. Lastly, RBMG is not a registered investment advisor or broker-dealer. For more information, please visit rbmilestone.com. It's now my pleasure to introduce Adam Melnik, CEO and Director of Zacapa Resources. Adam, it's your stage.
Thank you very much, Will. We're really excited to be here today. Thank you all very much for prioritizing being a part of our webinar. This is our first presentation as a public company. It's very exciting for our entire management team to have had this culmination come together here today. So very, very excited to present Zacapa and its story to you. We collectively present a compelling investment opportunity in pursuit of responsible exploration for the new energy economy, which I hope to delve into today. Please note I'll be making some forward-looking statements. Here's our disclaimer. It's also available on our website at zacaparesources.com. So briefly, I'll be taking you through our view of the commodity price outlook, touching a bit on the company's capital structure, what makes Zacapa a compelling investment. I'll touch on what we have accomplished in the last year as a private company. Importantly, discuss who's involved in this company, the jurisdictions where we're operating, and do a pretty good detailed overview of our copper and gold projects, all in the Southwest US, before closing with our exploration plan over the next 18 months and our expected catalysts for investors. I really appreciate your time today. Let's get right into it. So from our perspective, copper and gold have a very exciting and bright future. The copper and supply and demand story is really evolving, particularly through COVID. And importantly here, we see a widening supply deficit gap into 2030 of almost 25%. That's over 8 million tons of annual copper production that needs to be sourced globally. And this is largely due to the scaling up of the new energy economy, which includes the adoption of electric vehicles, renewable energy, and the related energy infrastructure. So importantly here, as you'll see in the copper price forecast from broker consensus and both the forward curve as well, we're expected to stay in a plus $4 per pound copper price environment for the foreseeable future. And Goldman Sachs is actually projecting copper prices to nearly double from current elevated levels to almost $7 a pound by 2026. So within the next 5 years, as the supply deficit increases. So we think it's an appropriate time to be exploring for copper projects or new potential copper deposits, particularly within the US. And gold as well has a very exciting and shiny future with a base here around $1,800 an ounce. We think it's got a long way to go as well. So just quickly touch on the company. I know a lot of investors like to understand how this company came together and it's how clean its capital structure is. And that's something I'm really proud of what our management team and board accomplished. In the last year, we've done a lot. Our last financing was over $9 million at 50 cents a share, giving us about 50 million shares outstanding. And importantly, this was accomplished with the sale of 0 warrants. And nearly 2/3 of our shares are subject to lockup and escrow agreements for up to 36 months, so 3 years. So we have very long-term invested shareholders that believe in our strategy and vision and are here with us for the long term, including a large institutional fund called Crescat, which is well known by many investors, particularly within the US. We're very happy to have them involved in our company. We are now actively trading. Our share price is hovering around 50 cents in a pretty choppy market. And we're very excited to now be a public company and to have a clean slate for a new year. Why I believe Zacapa presents a compelling investment proposition. So we have a really strong team, and I've been really enjoying building momentum with this group over the last 6 months since joining the company. As I mentioned on our previous slide, we have long-term invested shareholders that believe in our strategy and vision and will support us as we execute. I'll get into why we have extremely well-positioned projects in a moment that are diversified across both copper and gold. And having completed our raise last year, we are very well funded to execute on our exploration program over the next 12 to 18 months. So for these 5 reasons, I believe Zacapa presents a compelling investment opportunity. Just look backwards for a moment before we look forwards. Over the last year, we have accomplished an immense amount. In early 2021, Zacapa acquired its 6 projects and also completed its capital raise of over $9 million. In the middle of last year, a new management team was appointed, including myself, and we began our prospectus filings and proceedings to prepare to be listed. In the latter half of the year, we also advanced our projects meaningfully and also initiated the Red Top drill program, to which we released a press release on the day of our IPO on Wednesday, January 26th. So we built a lot of momentum here. We have a bias for action as a team and continue. We believe we'll be able to continue with this momentum into 2022. As I mentioned at the outset here, we have a really strong team, and that includes myself. I've got more than 15 years experience in the industry. My background is in investment banking and corporate development and strategy for large mining companies. I've been based in London in the UK for the last nearly a decade, and I've relocated to Vancouver to move this company forward. Lisa Peterson as well has joined us as CFO around the same time I joined, and she has a rich history and esteemed career with Sky Power, Barrick Gold, and KGHM, a very large copper producer. We're very happy to have Melissa Martinson and Tatiana involved in the company as well. They have very rich experience in working with junior companies and creating value for shareholders in high growth organizations. Quite importantly here, at the same time I joined, Dr. Timothy McIntyre joined us as the Vice President of Exploration. Tim has over 15 years experience in Africa and North America. He's an economic geologist. Most recently was consulting with Rio Tinto Exploration on their projects in Zambia. Prior to that, Tim was completing his PhD at the Colorado School of Mines, focused on the Kansanshi deposit that is an operating copper mine, a cornerstone asset for First Quantum Minerals. And prior to that was working for 5 years with Ivanhoe Mines in DRC on the company's Kamoa-Kakula discovery and its Western Forelands project, which is garnering a lot of attention. We're very happy to have Tim involved in the organization and driving our projects forward. Supporting Tim, importantly, are 2 technical advisors, Dr. Alan Wainwright and Dan McNeil. Dr. Wainwright has an esteemed career. He completed his PhD focusing on the Oyu Tolgoi porphyry copper deposit in Mongolia that's being developed by Turquoise Hill and Rio Tinto and has been in production for a while now. He's also credited with the discovery of the Coffee gold deposit in Yukon, which was sold to Goldcorp for about $500 million Canadian dollars. Dan McNeil as well has an esteemed career, has worked for well over a decade with Barrick Gold and Anglo American, and is working with a number of high growth new mineral exploration companies and is adding a lot of value to our team. Alex Yard is our exploration manager. He's the man executing on the ground, has a rich history in working with high growth junior gold exploration companies. Supporting our management team and technical team is our board of directors, which includes myself, but most importantly, our executive chairman, Ian Slater. Zacapa was founded by Ian Slater. He has over 25 years experience in the industry He was a partner at Ernst & Young, managing the company's Canadian mining practice, and as well had a very impressive tenure in Arthur Andersen's Central Asia mining practice. Ian is a serial entrepreneur and has had a number of successful ventures, of which the Zacapa lists as one. James Hines is also on our board. James is the executive chairman of Core Mining and its spinco, Caris Gold, and also founded Stronghold Silver, which was acquired last year. Very happy to have James involved. He's got a great technical aptitude and is bringing a lot of best practices to our organization, as well as Mark Boisano. Mark joined us following his retirement from Glencore as the global head of nickel. Mark has a strong work ethic and is bringing a lot of best practices and good governance to our board. We're very happy to have him involved. Jay Sujir, as well, is a director on our board, and he's a partner at Ferris, which is the law firm that has been supporting our legal efforts and prospectus filings to date. Collectively, our board has raised over $100 million for early stage mining and exploration ventures in the last 12 months, of which about 10% of that was for Zacapa. We'll start delving into our projects now. We are a leading explorer in the Southwest US. We're very happy with our land position here. We have 6 projects, 4 copper projects and 2 gold projects. And importantly on this slide, I really want to highlight that we're in some key mining friendly states. Okay? Arizona is responsible for over 75% of the United States copper production. And Nevada is responsible for almost 80% of total gold production within the US. And 4 out of our 6 projects are based in those 2 states. It's really important to highlight that. Delving in a bit more at the project level, Nevada is ranked as the #1 state to be in by the Fraser Institute for Investment Attractiveness, which certainly attracted us to the region. We have 2 important properties here. Our Dewdrop Moon project is in the Yarrington district, in the Walker Lane trend. It's a porphyry copper target that we have. Our South Bullfrog epithermal gold project is in the Bullfrog Gold Camp in the Beatty district. And we're surrounded by some majors that are developing new mines and are being quite acquisitive there. We also have a presence in Idaho with our Miller Mountain epithermal gold project, where we have fantastic outcropping veins, which are highly mineralized. And we also have 2 porphyry copper targets in Arizona, which include Red Top and Pearl, of which Red Top is proximal to Resolution. And we've recently announced some very interesting mineralization in our first hole, and I'll be delving into that in a moment. And Pearl is proximal to the past producing San Manuel Kalamazoo mine that BHP operated historically, which I'll be touching on later. Our most advanced project is actually a copper project in Colorado. It's a large copper moly resource of over 600 million tons, which we are advancing as well. I'll quickly double click on our copper projects here, which we believe to be quite compelling. Starting with Red Top, which is where we've began our drill program. Red Top is in one of the most prolific districts in the Laramide Porphyry Belt. This is truly the land of giants. There are 4 billion ton plus porphyry copper deposits within close proximity to our project. Importantly, we are within 8 kilometers of the Resolution deposit, which is one of the largest undeveloped mines currently being advanced by Rio Tinto and BHP. There's 1.8 billion tons at 1.5% copper here. That's over 50 billion pounds of copper. There's a lot of value in the ground there, and we're quite constructive on its pathway forward for development and eventual mining. Importantly here, what attracted us to Red Top was a large outcropping zone of quartz sericite pyrite alteration. And our drill program has confirmed and discovered thick intervals of veining and visible copper mineralization inside of a porphyry, which is extremely encouraging. And it has indicated that there is a significant copper-bearing hydrothermal system of which we are vectoring in on the center of with our ongoing drill program here. As you saw in our press release last week, the first hole that we drilled at Red Top, we extended beyond our planned end of hole of 800 meters to 1,042 meters. And this is primarily because we were still seeing significant veining and visible mineralization in the hole, which also gave us the confidence and conviction to color hole number 2, approximately 500 meters to the southeast. Again, drilling at a slightly greater dip, potentially towards what may be the center of this porphyry system. We've also advanced additional mapping and sampling work and prioritized new geophysical surveys, which will enable our thinking and allow us to vector in closer to the core of what we believe is a very large hydrothermal system here. So very encouraging start at Red Top, and we're persisting. Our second porphyry copper target in Arizona is the Pearl project. Pearl, as I mentioned, is adjacent to the past producing San Manuel Kalamazoo mine, which was a very large, giant porphyry deposit, 1.4 billion tons at 0.6% copper equivalent. Our claims here are contiguous with Freeport and BHP. We have identified at surface large zones of porphyry style alteration and mineralization at surface. In the past quarter, while we were a private, we did advance a second mapping and sampling program here, and also received our ZTEM geophysical survey results, which we are now interpreting. Shown on this map here, our sampling program did return grab samples of over 7% copper at surface, which is very impressive. And our pathway forward here at Pearl is to integrate all of our data packages and vector in on compelling drill targets for the first half of 2023. So we have compiled a lot of data here. We've got remote sensing, mapping, sampling, geochemical, geophysical data sets, which we are integrating at the moment, and we'll be progressing through drill permitting for early next year. Our third porphyry copper target is in Nevada, in the Yerington district. It's called Dewdrop Moon. Dewdrop Moon is an important property for us. It's approximately 10 kilometers to the south of the most recently permitted new copper mine in the whole country, called Pumpkin Hollow, which is currently being advanced, is in production with Nevada Copper. This is a highly metal endowed district with more than 20 billion pounds of copper in known deposits and past production. And importantly here, we had a large section of our claim block that was a hole. There was a number of claims which we ultimately acquired from Convergent Mining, who had optioned these claims to Hudbay and had advanced a lot of work at this project. And we successfully acquired those claims and increased our land holdings by 45% here in Q4. And that added to the depth of knowledge that we now have about our full land package and how to progress an exploration program forward. So we've run 2 successful sampling and mapping programs here over the last 18 months, which included samples of almost 4 grams per ton gold and over 4% copper at surface. There are numerous historic adits and old workings here. And it is pretty virgin territory for us. A lot of this ground is untested and underexplored, hasn't been drilled. And so again, similar to Pearl here, we are integrating our data sets and the data that we've acquired from Hudbay and are vectoring in for targets drilling here in the second half of this year. Our last porphyry copper project that we have in the portfolio is Timichi. Timichi's in Colorado. Has a very large resource of 600 million tons at 0.34% copper equivalent. We really like this project. It's got some fantastic historic drilling results, including almost 350 meters at 0.51% copper equivalent. So there is a potential opportunity here to improve the grade over time. But our land holdings were restricting our activities somewhat. So in Q4, we strategically expanded our claim boundaries to encompass the open pit resource that could potentially be developed here in the long term. Our work plan at the moment is to advance through stakeholder engagement, which is really important to gaining a license to operate in Colorado. Those are our copper projects. I'd love to take you through our gold projects now, which we are very excited about. To begin, I'll start with our South Bullfrog project. From my perspective, this project is what attracted a number of our investors to our company. Our South Bullfrog project is literally in the bullseye of the Beatty district. It's an increasingly active area in the Walker Lane trend. We're proximal to several past producing mines and new deposits that have been identified and progressed through exploration programs by majors in the industry, including AngloGold Ashanti, who's recently completed its acquisition of Corvus Gold for $370 million US, and they have announced their intention just in the past week to develop a hub and spoke production model here, which will see up to 6 deposits milled at one central location at the North Bullfrog deposit, which is just a few kilometers from our claims in Beatty. Strategically, in Q4, we expanded our land holdings here as well. This is a very competitive area where majors are not only making commitments to build new mines that will be in production in the next 3 to 4 years, but they're also actively acquiring companies, acquiring new ground, and running their own greenfields grassroots exploration programs, which is a really good bellwether for what we could achieve here as well, and perhaps where we could partner in the future. So as presented on this slide here, we have collected a lot of information prior to drilling this project. It's really important here. Mineralization is typically hosted along faults and vein structures, which can be a little bit elusive. So we've been very diligent in our work program here. We've demonstrated that our mag survey has been completed, but also all the small dots are indicating where we've completed our soil and stream sediment sampling program. And coincident with our soils program, we have IP geophysics lines running across our property. This survey is being run at the moment, right now, and we're very excited about some of the results we're getting back. Importantly, it's enabling us to correlate results that we're seeing in our soils programs, where we see a potential pop and lift in the gold grade. We're able to vector in as well on what could be beneath the cover causing that bump in gold grade with our IP geophysics work. So I don't want to get overly complex here, but basically we're using leading advanced exploration technologies and techniques to vector in on targets here for drilling starting in Q2 this year. This is a really important project for our company and our investors, and it's extremely prospective. So we're very happy to have it in the portfolio. Our second gold property is Miller Mountain. We optioned Miller Mountain from EMX Royalty Corp. We own, importantly here, about 7.5 kilometers along the Trans-Challis Fault Zone, which was an important mineralizing feature for the Boise Basin, which is hosted past production of several million ounces of gold. This is quite famous, actually. So we've completed a geophysics survey here in Q4, as well as a soil and sediment sampling program in Q4. And we have submitted and received back permits for drilling here, which we will begin in July when the snow melts at Miller Mountain. We really like this district, and we really like our property holdings for a few reasons, primarily because there's historic mining activity. There are two mines on this property, the Miller and Specimen mines, both which host non-compliant resources, but are really encouraging analogs for what we may be able to find in the future. Our rock chip sampling has brought back results of almost 30 grams per ton gold. And there is some historic drilling here, which includes past results of over 7 meters at almost 22 grams per ton gold. Not too dissimilar to Dewdrop and Pearl here. We've vectored in on some very interesting targets. We've got permits, and we will be drilling here in the summer. So to quickly summarize here, we're going to have consistent news flow and catalysts for investors over the next 18 months that we're generating through sequentially phasing our drill programs at 5 of our exploration properties, starting at Red Top, which is a copper project, moving on to South Bullfrog, which was our most prospective gold project, followed by Miller Mountain, Dewdrop Moon, and Pearl into the first half of 2023. Importantly here, we'll have updates for the market at the outset through these drilling programs, and obviously assay results as our programs come to fruition and we receive results back from the lab. So lots of news flow that's independently occurring at each project, but collectively is quite compelling. So really appreciate your time today. I'll just quickly summarize why I believe Zacapa, again, is a very compelling investment opportunity. We have a very strong board management and technical team that's advancing our projects we have a successful track record of discovery, resource development, and permitting new mines and operating. In that fact, we have a very long-term invested shareholder base, which is supporting our vision and strategy for a minimum of 3 years with the escrow and lockup agreements that we have in place. And we have very well-positioned projects that are proximal to historic operating and currently operating and development projects that are in very compelling jurisdictions. We are diversified right now across copper and gold projects. That's how we're balancing our budget as well. And we have a fully funded exploration program. We can deliver almost 10,000 meters of drilling across 5 of our copper and gold projects over the next 18 months. So I think for these reasons, Zacapa presents a very compelling investment opportunity. I thank you for your time today. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Well, thanks, Adam, for a very thorough and insightful presentation. We are going to take questions and answers now. We have received some questions prior to the event, and we'll add any questions as they come in through the queue. Again, if you're interested in asking a question and are logged into the Zoom app or web platform, you can submit your question to us directly in the chat module. So let's get started with the first question. Adam, how is Zacapa differentiated from other exploration companies in the U.S.?
That is a great question, Will, one I'm happy to shed some light on. I think there's 2 primary differentiators for Zacapa. First is our property and project locations. We're proximal to past producing, currently operating, and developing projects in the Southwest U.S. This is really important for analogs as to what we could discover at our properties, and as well there could be accelerated pathway through development and permitting being proximal to these operations as well. And the second reason I believe our company is differentiated is we have a very young, empowered management team that's been given the reins and freedom to go and deliver results. Our average age is under 40, and this is an anomaly within the mining industry, which is typically known for having, let's say, an older workforce. But I'm feeling that we have the best strategy, and we're able to implement a lot of new technology, given how youthful and energized our workforce is. And I believe those are 2 key differentiating factors, Will.
Great, thanks. The second question coming in is, how is Zacapa allocating capital across its portfolio of projects?
That's a great question. We get this one often, Will. And I think it's important to identify here that we are a copper and gold company. And importantly, we have a pretty diverse portfolio here, and each of these projects deserves to be progressed and deserves to be tested with a drill. So we balanced our budget and capital allocation strategy for this year across copper and gold, and are not overweight one particular project at this point in time.
Okay, great, thank you. The third question coming in is, how is Zacapa attracting top talent, service providers, and partners to its projects?
It's really important in this market environment with how busy exploration crews are and service providers at this point in time. So we believe the best path forward to creating strong relationships with our counterparties, service providers, and contractors is transparency and partnership. True long-term partnership. So Red Top's a great example. Or we've got an exploration partnership with Bronco Creek Exploration, which is advancing our Red Top drill program right now. And they've brought with them a fantastic drill contractor, which is giving us best-in-class rates at our program there. And really, by being a transparent, open book and making ourselves a little bit vulnerable, but being very honest and frank about our strategy and our path forward, we're able to be to attract long-term partners to our projects. And is in terms of attracting top talent. I think top talent attracts top talent, really. I've been very impressed with how Dr. Timothy McIntyre has engaged with the community of geologists and project geologists. And we've attracted some top talent by having high caliber people at the top of the organization as well.
Fantastic. That's great. I just wanted to remind the audience, if you have questions, that you can put them directly in the chat box. The next question coming through is, what has been learned from drilling the first hole at Red Top?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one I've been answering a lot over the last week, given our market update. So what we have learned is we have a large hydrothermal system moving through our property. And what we have done is drilled through some very interesting alteration sequences that lead us to believe we are closing in on the center of a very large porphyry system, porphyry center, excuse me. So our first drill hole, based on the alteration that we were seeing, the seracitic and chloride alteration, leads us to believe that because we weren't seeing, let's say, potassic or porphyritic, porphyrophylite alteration, we're not in the center just yet, but we have drilled along the side of this porphyry system, center rather. So it has educated us a lot as to what could be there, and importantly, seeing pyrite and magnetite at surface in the initial few meters of our hole, moving into more of a chalcopyrite dominated mineralization further in the hole, and then closer to halfway through the hole, seeing a bit of bornite as well was really encouraging. So to see these minerals, these high copper bearing minerals in the periphery of what could be our porphyry center is quite encouraging for what could be in the center of this thing.
Very good. I believe this next series of questions, there's three, but you did cover them in your presentation, but it might be worth reiterating and maybe getting into a little more detail. So I'll bunch these together as they came in. First off, what is the current depth of hole number 2? What is the expected turnaround time for hole number 1? And can you provide any guidance and plans for additional drilling at Red Top?
Those are all Red Top questions. It's great to hear that we're getting so much traction with your investor base, Will. So importantly, so hole number 2 is down approximately 300 meters at this moment. So we're approximately a third of the way through this hole. Hole number 1, I assume the results that the question was pertaining to was about assay results. Right now, we're seeing pretty good turnaround time on assays. It seems like the labs have alleviated the backlogs that were encumbering a number of operators last year, and we expect results within 6 to 8 weeks. So stay tuned there. And in terms of additional drilling at Red Top, we do have a plan to drill 3 to 4 holes at this project this year, and subject to success, that could change, but that is our current plan.
Okay, that's fantastic. Well, thanks, Adam, and thanks everyone for joining today's webinar. Today's webinar recording will soon be available on Zacapa's website. And if you have any additional questions that have not been addressed on this webinar, please feel free to email us at zacapa@rbmilestone.com. Again, that's zacapa@rbmilestone.com. And thanks again, Adam. And that concludes our webinar.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your interest and support.